Now, Deputy Michael Lowry, please, on behalf of the regional group.
Taoireachtas, farming across every sector is struggling. Bureaucracy is smothering farmers. Farmers have become so bogged down in adhering to a myriad of directives and tackling mountains of paperwork that the actual pleasure and satisfaction of farming is slipping from their grasp. Farmers throughout Ireland are facing changes and challenges unlike anything ever witnessed. Reduced sale prices, rising costs. Sorry, my microphone.
It's on, I think, but it's maybe there's
okay.
Noise, background noise.
You allow me to start?
Yeah.
Taoireachtas, farming across every sector is struggling. Bureaucracy is smothering farmers. Farmers have become so bogged down in adhering to a myriad of directives and tackling mountains of paperwork that the actual pleasure and satisfaction of farming is slipping from their grasp. Farmers throughout Ireland are facing changes and challenges unlike anything ever witnessed. Reduced sale prices, rising costs, heavy regulation, serious debt, climate change demands and cheap imports are threatening the livelihood of farmers in my constituency of Tipperary, North Kilkenny. Farmers are not against change and advancement. They are pro-progress and pro-improvement. However, the imposition of ever-changing rules, regulations, restrictions, inspection regimes and red tape is grinding down farmers. Farmers, young and old, are questioning viability and survival prospects. Our oldest and largest indigenous sector is in danger of being squeezed out of existence. I've been meeting and talking with farmers for many years. I've never before witnessed such exasperation and vexation. The imposition of negative measures is leading to frustration, aggravation and in many cases despair. The desire of young farmers to take over family-run farms has almost evaporated. Looming in the backs of the minds of our future farmers is the Mercosur deal, which remains a massive threat to the beef sector. The transformation of CAP away from supporting food production towards actually reducing farm output. Also a matter of grave concern is the reductions to the nitrates derogation imposed by the European Commission with absolutely no flexibility offered, and the Commission's threat to remove the derogation entirely in 2026. Again, Taoireachtas, the economic viability of the Irish tillage sector is in an extremely precarious position. The level of rainfall has made it impossible to move livestock out into fields. Planting and sowing of tillage crops is way behind, and bills are mounting as farmers struggle to keep on top of their work. I support the IFA's call for a tillage expansion and sustainability scheme to be urgently introduced to financially support farmers. Taoireachtas, the issues of VAT rebates remain a big issue for farmers who have carried out essential works on their farms. Issues have arisen with the Revenue Commissioner's interpretation where some investment items which farmers had previously received refunds on are no longer eligible. This is unfair and counterproductive. Finally, Taoireachtas, the struggle to remain in farming is growing more challenging. Worry and stress replace incentive and planning. Strategies for growth have changed to prayers for survival. And I'm asking you, Taoireachtas, what is the government's response to farmers at this critical juncture?
Thank you, Deputy Lowry. Taoireachtas.
Well, first of all, I thank you, Deputy, for raising this important issue. And I would say there's a variety of issues that you've raised. But first of all, in terms of regulation and so forth, the Department of Agriculture makes every effort to keep the various schemes and the implementation of schemes as simple as possible. The Department engages closely with farmers on all scheme delivery issues. There's a Farmers' Charter there, the Department's Farmers' Charter, which provides for regular engagement. There are former stakeholder engagement structures, ongoing bilateral contacts. The Department also provides a range of practical supports to assist farmers, such as farmer information meetings, ongoing direct support through its network of offices, and extensive training for farmers and advisors. And the introduction of a new range of schemes has involved extensive work from an administrative perspective, including the building of new IT systems, and work continues in resolving many outstanding issues in respect of that. I think overall the Minister negotiated a comprehensive Common Agricultural Policy Agreement at European Union level, which has resulted in very significant supports for farming in this country. And the government is supportive of farming and supportive of agriculture. The food production system in this country is vital. And one of the big challenges we have is reconciling the absolute need and imperative of food security with climate security also. And I acknowledge that on the tillage front, and we've all witnessed the very significant rain we've had in the last number of months. The water tables are very high, and the tillage sector had a difficult year last year, tillage farmers. And that's why the government provided more direct support for tillage farmers than any other in the history of the state. Minister McConalogue has established a tillage stakeholder group to examine the issues. He's awaiting its final report. Direct supports for protein aid have been more than doubled from 3 million to 7 million under the CAP strategic plan, and that was topped up by a further 3 million to bring the total last year to 10 million, and we'll continue to work with the tillage sector. On the nitrates, we acknowledge I've met with many farmers in respect of the nitrates derogation and what has happened. I think it's essential that the industry works with government to seek and to make sure we get a renewal of the derogation in 2026. And it has to be a collective national effort to make sure we achieve that target. And the Water Quality Group has been established, involving stakeholders in delivering on our dual objectives of delivering improvements in water quality and securing a derogation from 26 onwards. Ministers McConalogue and O'Brien recently launched a 60 million scheme to support farmers to improve water quality. On the Mercosur agreement, we've consistently at European Union level raised our concerns in terms of the impact of any EU-Mercosur deal on the agricultural sector, and particularly in terms of the beef market, as well as the environmental provisions within that agreement. And Minister McConalogue has been very clear, and I quote, that there needs to be equivalence of standards, and there needs to be expectations on countries who are importing into the EU, as we expect of our own farmers and food producers. And that's been a clear line we've taken in relation to Mercosur. We've insisted an additional instrument is comprehensive in its scope, currently being negotiated by the EU, includes binding commitments on climate change, biodiversity, combating deforestation, labour rights and so forth. I'll come back later maybe on some of these.
Lowry.
Another issue is the shambolic management of Ireland's forestry policy, which has led to farmers losing complete confidence in the forestry sector. And that's compounded by the refusal of the Department to provide appropriate recompense for farmers impacted by ash dieback. The total amount of land planted for forestry in 2023 was 1,650 hectares. That corresponds with the lowest in the history of the state. The last time we planted as low as that was in 1946. So somebody needs to take control of that department and sort out the mess that exists there. The residential zoned land tax continues to be a serious issue for those farmers affected by it. The implementation of this tax is completely unfair and places a penal charge on farmers with land on the outskirts of towns and villages, which is unlikely to be ever used for housing projects. All genuinely farm land should be exempted from this tax. Many of the farmers adversely affected in Tipperary, North and Kilkenny have gone through the process of requesting dezoning and/or an exemption to this tax to the local authority in Bord Pleanála. In the majority of instances, these requests have been refused.
Thank you, Deputy.
So this will result in the imposition of an unaffordable and inequitable tax on farmers.
To conclude on this matter.
Thank you, Deputy. And I referenced the CAP earlier. About 10 billion in total between the EU and Exchequer funding will support 130,000 farm families under the new CAP. On the forestry, there is a new 1.3 billion forestry programme. It's open for applications. New licences are issuing every week. We believe this will be a significant departure from previous years where the industry was in difficulty. It will see an increase in forestry premiums now between 46% and 66%. And farmers will receive 20 years of premium payments compared to 15 years of premium payments for non-farmers. So a farmer planting, for example, 1 hectare of native broadleaf trees will receive 1,103 per year for 20 years tax-free. That's about 22,000 for planting 1 hectare of land. And again, you can plant, now farmers can plant 1 hectare of native woodland without the need for a licence. So there are certainly improvements there. And in terms of forestry, but delivery is going to be key in that respect. On the zone land tax, that has been deferred as a remapping underway, which I think is coming close to completion in relation to that particular issue. I do understand the points that you've made, and we're endeavouring to make sure that those who are in production and who want to remain and continue farming are not taxed unfairly. I think that is a fair objective.